And with us, we have Jana Aldretti, Andy Flower, Christy Sabdo, Jennifer Cleary, Sarah Ziel, and Fernanda Roveri. Can you get everybody? And Kim Cole.
Okay. All right.
And
Person. And thank you, Chair. I can go ahead and do the roll call for us if we're ready. Did it come through on there?
Yeah.
Okay. So Chair Carter,
here.
Vice Chair Blue,
Here.
Committee Member Connor,
Here.
Committee Member Hunter, and I'm here for absent. Committee Member Polly.
Here.
Thank you. Committee Member Rath.
Here.
And lastly, Committee Member Tregenza.
Here.
Thank you.
Great, everybody's here. I'm going to open the consent agenda, which includes the meeting minutes from July 1st. I regretfully was not there, so does anybody have any things to change, or would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll
There's-
second.
That was moved by Shannon, seconded by Bob.
Okay.
For any discussion?
Thank you for repeating that, Chair. We will follow the rest up with a roll call vote.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having a really hard time hearing with the mask.
Sorry about that. We're sharing an office space, so we have to kind of be extra careful, but we'll try and speak a little clearer. So we'll go ahead and do the roll call on those minutes.
Great.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, great, thank
Oh,
you.
great. Thank you. Cut out a little bit on there for me. Chair Carter,
Abstain.
Vice Chair Blue,
Aye.
Committee Member Connor,
Aye.
Committee Member Hunter. Oh, absent. Committee Member Polly,
Aye.
Committee Member Rath,
Aye.
and Committee Member Tregenza.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm not hearing anything.
The next item we're going to go to is public comment. And I'm going to ask anybody if they have any public comment, and we'll open the public comments. Jen, did you want to go, or Sarah, do you want to go ahead and go through public comments for items not on the
Sure,
agenda?
Sure. So I want to go ahead and announce the phone number for public comments, and that number is 831-225-0330. Again, that number is 831-225-0330, and the conference ID is 1927648. And again, that conference ID is 1927648. Also, just a friendly reminder, when you do enter the public comment, please go ahead and do *5 to raise your hand, and then I can unmute you, and we will announce the callers by the last 4 digits of their phone number. And we do limit public comment to 3 minutes, so we will set a timer if anyone has any public comment they would like to share. And it looks like at this point, we don't have anyone for public comment, but we can keep an eye on that here for a second.
Great, thank you. We'll give it another 10 seconds or so.
Sure.
Chair, we should be good at this point in time. We do have less of a delay than council does.
Great, then we'll continue on. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to open the first public appearance item, which is consider 2137 San Vito Circle Architectural Review Application ARP 20-0107 to allow a 527 square foot second story addition to a single family residence. And do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Let's see, start my presentation.
Could you please
Okay,
introduce
my name is,
yourself?
yes, my name is Christy Sabda. I'm Associate Planner with the City of Monterey. Samuel Pitnick is the applicant and architect that has applied for a second story addition at 2137 San Vito Circle. The property is located in the Fisherman Flats neighborhood. It's zoned R112 and it has a general plan land use designation of low density residential. The proposed site plan shows the second story addition located approximately 62 feet from the San Vito Circle. The proposed addition is 527 square feet. This is the existing floor plan showing that it shows the existing garage, and there are some closet spaces by the garage that are going to be demolished for a stairwell that's going to lead to the second story. So here's the proposed first floor and second floor plan. Here on the first floor plan shows the location of the stairwell, previously closet space in the house. And then on the second floor, you'll see there's living space above the garage and a second story stairwell. So this is showing the proposed location of the second story addition. It's located approximately 7 to 12 feet from 2141, which is the closest residence to this addition. And then the addition is located approximately 45 feet from 2131, so further than than this one here. And then it also, the back of the lot backs up onto this kind of vegetation corridor, if you will. And here's a picture of the story poles. I have some better pictures too coming up. So this is the west elevation on the San Vito frontage, showing the second story addition here over the garage, and then the second story stairwell here. So the second story addition will have hardy board siding, which complements the gable element here, the existing residence. Also, the windows will match, not in size, but in style. And they'll also have shutters, and then they'll have kind of landscape planters under each window, which matches the existing residence here. The second story stairwell will have a stucco siding. Here's the north elevation, which is the elevation that is furthest from the adjacent neighbor, about 45 feet. They do have windows, but due to the distance between the residences, there should not be privacy impacts. See if there's anything else to say about this one. There still will be the hardy board siding on the addition, and the stairwell will have stucco. So the south elevation is the elevation that's closest to the neighboring residence, and you'll notice that they don't have any windows, so there will be no privacy impacts. And the east elevation is the elevation that faces the rear of the property, that vegetation corridor. So again, there won't be any privacy impacts, and the finishes complement the existing residence. The proposed second story addition meets all of the R1 standards, including the second story setbacks, and the building height is under the maximum allowable of 25 feet. Here's some pictures of the story poles. I have about 3 pictures here, and you'll see the closest residence, kind of how it looks in relation to that based on these pictures. And this is the gable element that I was talking about that has the horizontal wood siding that will complement the hardy board horizontal siding on the addition. So in closing, here are the architectural review findings. The proposal meets all the required development standards in the R1 district. It meets second-story setbacks, for example. It's under the allowable height of 25 feet. The alterations are of single-family residential character and compatible with the surrounding area. There won't be any privacy impacts. Again, on the south elevation, the one closest to the neighboring residence, there are no windows proposed. On the north elevation, furthest away from the adjacent residence, they do have windows, but it's 45 feet from that residence. And the rear of the property, there's a vegetation corridor. The project is not expected to impair any views. As I said, it's consistent with the R1 standards and the single family guidelines. There are a few that apply here that I'll review. Guideline policy 2.1, the design of home additions shall avoid excessive bulk, scale, monotony, and lack of character, and strive for design compatibility with the surrounding neighborhood. So I think they've done a good job of making the addition compatible in design and scale with the existing house and the surrounding neighborhood, and does not create excessive bulk. Guideline 2.1.1 states single-family dwellings that are boxy or without any recognizable architectural detail should be avoided. The proposed addition does have architectural character and detail that add visual interest, such as breaking up the mass of the second story. Both the stairwell is kind of offset from the addition. It's a little bit lower. There's a wood trellis between the first and second story, which adds an interesting architectural detail, and the wood shutters and planters as well add some details and complement the existing residence. So, and in closing, the exterior finish, colors and materials, as I stated, do complement the existing design of the residence and are compatible with the architecture of Monterey. The applicant is here if you have any questions, and he does want to make a short presentation and we'll answer questions, and I'm also available for questions.
Thanks, Christy. Does the committee have any questions for Christy?
I do. It's Patrick Tregenza.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Christy.
Sure.
Are there any complaints, letters from neighbors, or are there any photographs taken from the neighbor's point of view showing the story poles?
I have not received any communication from neighbors.
And so, okay, well, I guess they don't seem to mind. All right,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, would the applicant like to make a presentation?
I see Samuel Pitnick is on here. It looks like,
Did you want to make a presentation, Mr. Pitnick?
Yeah, can everyone hear me all right?
yes.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is Sam Pinnick. I'm the architect for 2137 San Vito Circle. Thank you, Christy, for that presentation. Good evening, members of the committee. I just thought I would give you a little bit of a background on this project and just say a few words on behalf of my clients, Lyndon and Vicki Schutzler, who I think are also on the call this evening. My clients, Lyndon and Vicki, have been longtime residents, I think lifelong residents of the Monterey Peninsula, actually, and have lived in this particular home since May of 1989, so a little over 30 years. The Schutzlers have growing children who are starting their own families, and so the intent of this project is to provide additional living space to accommodate their growing family The existing home has 3 small bedrooms and 2 small bathrooms, and this proposed addition will add a 4th larger bedroom and a 3rd more spacious bathroom with walk-in closet. I know at the start of this project, my clients did reach out to the neighbor to the south, story addition, and as far as I'm aware, they haven't clients at this time. As Christy mentioned, we don't believe that the 2nd story addition will have any impact on their views. The neighboring home is about 8 feet higher than our project, so I think their windows are situated up high enough and angled far enough away from our project where their views will be fully preserved. We also, as Christy mentioned, didn't put any windows on the south elevation of the proposed addition to maintain privacy across both properties. All the windows we're proposing are on the west, north, and east elevations and intended to take advantage of the views out over the Monterey Bay and to that natural ravine to the east. The 527 square foot addition will be accessed by a set of spiral stairs on the northeast corner. These will be enclosed by a stucco kind of stairwell with a small hip roof over the top of it. The proposed roof line, siding, shutters, planter boxes, and wood trellis are intended to complement the style of the existing home. And as Christy pointed out, they do also serve to break up the mass of the 2-story structure. So rather than kind of run the stucco all the way up the 2-story elevation or the hardy board, we decided to keep the stucco that's around the garage where it is now. And then the 2nd story addition above that will be clad in the horizontal hardy board siding to match the existing gabled end at the front of the home. We did also choose the location of the addition over the garage for several reasons. One of which, of course, is the advantage of using the existing garage structure and foundation to support the addition. It's also set back considerably far from San Vito Circle and also provides ease of access into the existing living room space. So we hope you'll support the project this evening, and at this time I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. This is Justin. Hey,
Go ahead.
hey Sam. You mentioned your. I wasn't quite clear on that because you were cutting out a little on my end. You mentioned your clients actually reached out to the southern neighbor earlier on in the project. Can you clarify? Did they actually discuss it with them, or was it just sort of a reach out that didn't go anywhere?
No, as far as I understand it, and maybe my clients can call in and provide some additional insight into that conversation. But as far as I understand the conversation went, they did have direct communication, explain that they were intending to design and build a 2nd story addition. As far as I'm aware, I don't believe the neighbor to the south had any negative comments. I think she understood that. You know, was there a kind of right to build on the property? Didn't feel that it would completely block her views, and she was okay with it.
Okay, and they're full-time residents, so they're seeing the flagging and.
As far as I'm aware, yes, they're full-time residents.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Are there any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we will go to public comments.
Okay, so we don't have callers at this time, but I'm going to announce that phone number one more time. It is 831-225-0330, and the conference ID is 1927648. We do not have any public comment callers at this moment, but if any arrive, we will announce you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. And just a reminder, there is a 3-minute time limit.
Thank you, Sarah.
Of course, you're welcome. And it still doesn't look like we have any public comment callers at this time.
Okay, well, we'll move on, and then if anybody calls, we'll take them.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, we will go to committee member comments. Does anybody want to start?
I guess I'll say that it looks like a nice addition. I like the stairway and the look of it, and doesn't seem to have any view or privacy impact. So looks like a good addition to that neighborhood.
This is Patrick. As I've probably said this before, I'm not a big fan of second story additions that are obvious. That kind of stick out like a sore thumb. I think they've done a pretty good job mitigating that with this, with the little stairwell section and the fenestration and the little details. Make it not just look like pasted a room on top of the garage, which is kind of what they're doing. But I think it did a good job with that. So, yeah.
I agree with Patrick and Bob on both comments.
Feels a bit, feels a bit top heavy to me. I'm not crazy. I think Patrick mentioned the second story garage. I think they detailed it as best as they could with the shutters and the little trellis over the garage. It does feel a little top heavy over the garage, but it seems to comply with all the zoning regs, so I don't see any reason to ask for changes.
And this is Shannon. I would agree with the comments that have already been made. I do appreciate the effort that they put into making that the front facade have some interesting elements to it. So yeah, I agree with moving forward with it.
Do you have anything, Linda?
I already commented, but yeah, I agree with what everybody said.
Great. Okay, so I don't have anything to add. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve application ARP 20-0107 for preliminary and final architectural review of a 527 square foot second story addition to an existing single family residence located at 2137 San Vito Circle.
I'll second that.
Great. Roll call vote, please.
Sarah, can you help out with that? I think you're muted right now.
Sorry, I thought I was so efficient with pulling up the names and I was still muted, so my apologies. Okay, here we go with that roll call. Chair Carter.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bluth.
Aye.
Committee Member Connor.
Aye.
Committee Member Polly.
Aye.
Committee Member Rath.
Aye.
And Committee Member Tregenza.
Aye.
And Hunter is absent today. Thank you.
That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you have this vote may be appealed within 10 days to the Planning Commission or anybody who might like to appeal it. We are going to move on to our next item, which is consider 25 Wharf Number 1 Architecture Review Application ARP 20-0139 for a change of paint colors from beige to yellow to an existing one-story commercial building, Krabby Jim's. Is there a staff presentation?
Yes, there is. I'm pulling it up.
Yes, Rodriguez with Candy World. I didn't hear that last question. Could you, my phone cut out.
Oh, hello, Rodney. We are first going to have a staff presentation, and then we will have public comment.
Okay. How do I unmute you?
Just hold on a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So the project is for 25 Wharf 1, which is Happy Gym. Oh, I hear a little feedback. Could everyone mute themselves? Okay. So the project is for architectural review of the paint color scheme. And my name is Fernanda Roveri. I'm a senior associate planner for the city of Monterey. This is 25 Wharf 1, which is Krabby Jim's. It's a restaurant on the Fisherman's Wharf. The zoning is planned community waterfront, and which means that all development and land use in the Fisherman's Wharf is governed by the Waterfront Master Plan. So paint color changes when not similar. So when you go from a color to a different one that is not similar at all, requires a permit. And this is Krabby Jim's after it was painted. So the city planning office found out in May that Krabby Jim's had been painted yellow without a permit. And the city's code compliance coordinator got involved and requested that the business owner apply for a architectural review permit to retroactively approve the yellow paint color that you see here. So the permit was to go from the color beige on the left to the color yellow on the right. And the applicant, Mr. Dennis Joshi, indicated that he wanted the yellow to look like the City of Monterey logo yellow that you see on the screen here. So going through the Waterfront Master Plan, it says that Fisherman's Wharf is characterized by diverse and interesting color schemes, and that color should be a combination of bright colors such as pink, blue, and yellow, and muted industrial tones of gray or brown. It also says that projects should create a cohesive and distinctive visual experience by visually enhancing the planning area. Staff did a field trip to Fisherman's Wharf and found that 3 other buildings besides Krabby Jim's are painted yellow. And these include Old Fisherman's Grotto, the Crab House, and Princess Monterey Whale Watching. And so just for a little background information, there are 23 buildings on the wharf. The project was compared to the Waterfront Master Plan. And so one of the objectives or guidelines says that the colors, or that the Fisherman's Wharf shall be diverse and use interesting color schemes. And this is consistent. The yellow is consistent because the project would still keep the beige color on either side of the yellow recessed facade. And this is a diverse color scheme that combines beige with yellow. And the other guideline is that color should be a combination of bright, such as pink, blue, and yellow, and muted, such as gray or brown. The project is consistent because it combines bright yellow and muted beige. And then lastly, that the project shall be cohesive and promote a distinctive visual experience. And it would promote a distinctive visual experience. However, in order to achieve cohesion with the rest of the building, staff is recommending that the applicant add white trim to the recessed facade. So as you can see, the top is what it looked like previously with beige. and the white trim. And then on the bottom left is what it's painted like right now, just yellow. And then staff's recommendation is that white be added to the trim around the windows, just like it was previously. So the recommended condition is that the white be added back. And staff's recommendation is to approve the project with this special condition, that within 1 month of the date of this approval, the white trim around the windows shall be added back to the recessed building facade, and that the paint shall be muted rather than high gloss. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
Does the committee have questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, then does the applicant have a presentation?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, I will go with the staff recommendation. I will go with the staff recommendation.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, do you have anything you want to add or?
No, whatever you saw me, the staff recommendation, I will do exactly the same.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, Rod Riggs with Candy World. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was wondering, you said there's 3 other buildings with the color yellow on it.
So, Rod, I'm sorry. This is Kim Cole, the Community Development Director for the City of Monterey. We're not
Yes.
general public comment yet. And,
Oh, okay, that's the number I can call.
yeah, no
That's
problem. We're letting you
Okay.
participate in this. We will be at that section in just a moment.
Okay,
Ms.
thank
Carter,
you.
if you want to open it up to general public comment. There really shouldn't be dialogue generally between the applicant and the public comment. Any public comments should be directed to the Architectural Review Committee, and you as the chair can close public comment and ask for additional clarification if needed.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Riggs, very much.
So Zoe, I have some questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for the applicant, Mr. Joshi,
Yes.
did you consider any other colors that were different when picking out the yellow color?
I never thought of that yet so far. Since I got yesterday from the staff recommendation, so I thought I would go with that.
Okay, but when you painted it yellow, did you consider maybe painting it, I don't know, green or white or a different color before you painted it yellow?
I had a semi-white before. No, not really.
Okay. That's my only question.
I have a question. Is there a reason why you didn't go through the proper procedure before?
Yes, the reason was, it was during the pandemic. What happened was all the businesses start putting 6-7 foot banner, and I'm on the narrow side of the wharf. So that time I have no other choice than do something for my business, and that's what I did.
But were you aware of the way the city works and that you have to get an architecture review permit?
I am aware. I did went to the city, but everything was closed, and I had the application ready when the inspector was here. But I don't know I can't do. I was not able to submit online, and he told me how to do it, and after that I did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
you
did
never
went to the city, there was nobody over there, so only one window was open, and I forgot her name. She gave me the application only, which I had already, and since the inspector told me how to send it, then I did after that.
And there was no one for you to call, or there was no other way for you to
Only one person who called me was the inspector. That's it.
And there was no one at planning for you to call to submit your application?
No, I called because like when the inspector was here, I had the application with me already. I printed from online.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was no consideration for another color besides yellow?
Well, like I said, I just got an email yesterday, and like I was ready to go whatever the staff was recommending, and I like the way it looks. So if it is too complicated, I'll just go back to my original color.
But when you originally painted it, you didn't consider a different color besides yellow?
No, I didn't, because put it this way, like I believe in feng shui. You know, I'm from Nepal. I've been here 22 years, and I believe in feng shui means like it's about the colors, and yellow for my religion is the good luck for me. So that's what I thought. I mean, I didn't have chance to think of anything because we are ready to open the restaurant to go, and everybody have a banner. I didn't have that kind of space, so I put the yellow color. That's it.
Okay, but you just said you're willing to go back to beige if you need to?
If it's too complicated, to do, I'll just go back to the beige or whatever my original color is. It's eggshell, by the way.
It's what, eggshell?
Eggshell, yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Zoe, I have another question I just thought of.
Sure.
So, Mr. Joshi, would you be willing to go to a different color if you wanted something brighter than beige? Would you be willing to pick a different color?
I do like the whatever yellow that I have right now. It's full yellow, but I really like the staff recommendation because it costs half of the yellow, and I really liked it when I saw the email yesterday. And besides that, I never thought of any other color because I didn't know. But no, I'm not. I don't want green or something like that.
All right, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I guess this is Patrick. I think I have a comment is more that, just to make it clear, the staff didn't recommend this color. You chose this color, and the staff is just recommending that we let you keep that color.
Yes, I chose the color when the staff, they did that white border.
Yeah, but
and that's fine with me.
The city of Monterey didn't choose that yellow. You did.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, got it.
But what I'm saying is, I choose a color, and when I got an email from the staff, or the white trim around, so I was thinking like I'll go with the staff recommendation.
Thank you. I understand.
Thank you.
When you chose the color that you did you think that there might be conflicting?
No, I swear to God, no, nothing. All I was thinking was like, I need to open to go as of tomorrow. And it just came in my mind, since I'm Hindu, like, yellow is like gold for us. And this is the color I'm going to put. I'm not looking at any other thing. And yes, I did saw the City of Monterey logo sign. And that's what I was thinking, like, hey, you know what? We are in the Monterey, City of Monterey logo, have the yellow. I'm going to put this. That's what it came to in my mind. I'm not trying to copy anybody or nothing like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, then we will open public comments.
Okay, let me go ahead and announce that number once again for public comment. The phone number is 831-225-0330, and the conference ID is 192-7648.
So Chair Carter, while we are waiting for additional responses on the telephone, we did have at least 3 parties contact us in advance of the meeting, and they're part of this Google meeting. So there's Mr. Lombardo, Mr. Shake, and I believe Mr. Rodney Riggs that would like to make public comment. I would suggest that we defer to either Mr. Shake or Mr. Lombardo first. And then, so there's public comment that's part of this Google Meet, and then there's also public comment that could be received on the telephone.
Great, thank you, Kim. Mr. Lombardo, would you like to start?
Thank you, Chair Carters and members of the committee. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Your connection is a lot better than the Planning Commission of Monterey was last night or yesterday. I have a brief PowerPoint presentation. You hopefully have had a chance to review my letter. Kim, could you put up the PowerPoint?
We're happy to put that up. Fernanda, do you want to put it up, please?
I'm doing it. I will present now.
So is someone still keeping track of time too?
Okay, it's ready.
Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. View of the wharf. The Fisherman's Grotto is on the left-hand side. Next slide, please. As staff mentioned, the goal of the plan is to have diversity. Next slide, please. And the city has done a great job. Next slide, please, of maintaining that diversity. Next slide. This is Fisherman's Grotto, which you can see is very yellow, and it happens to be next door to the proposed color paint of yellow in Krabby Jim's. Next slide, please. This is Mr. Yoshi's other concession, which I mentioned to you in my earlier letter, with the unapproved pink paint, the unapproved sign, and the unapproved candy wallpapering, at least as far as we can find. Next slide, please. City of Monterey is doing this, has this policies for a reason. This is the island of Murano in Venice. Next slide, please. This is the Boca tourist area of Buenos Aires. Next slide, please. This is Old Town San Juan, Puerto Rico. Next slide, please. This is Cartagena in Colombia. Next slide, please. And finally, I can't pronounce it, in Denmark. Next slide, please. And British Columbia. Thank you, Fernanda. That's great. In closing, I'd just like to say the master plan on the wharf seeks to achieve diversity and interest, and that doesn't mean copying the color of your neighbors. The ARC dealt with this issue several years ago on the wharf and concluded, although the applicant agreed to change the color at that time, not to allow people to mimic other people's colors. If the applicant wishes to use a city's logo color, there's green or red or blue in the city logo. Painting a restaurant next to the grotto, the same color of the grotto, is not an accident, and it's an attempt to capture customers. The concessionaire appears to have a history of sort of asking forgiveness rather than permission. And on behalf of the Shake family and the other people who express their opinion, we would respectfully request you deny it and require the concessionaire to go back to their original color or propose a color that doesn't mimic the next door neighbor's color. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo. Mr. Shake, would you like to go? You're still muted.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Madam Chair, members of the commission. My name is Chris Shake. I just wanted to give you a little history of our family. My mom and dad opened the Old Fisherman's Grotto nearly 70 years ago. And through that long journey, the Old Fisherman's Grotto has become an iconic landmark restaurant, not only on Fisherman's Wharf in Monterey, but practically the world. And I just feel like with these restaurants being so close to each other, basically 21 feet in between, and with the yellow color that Mr. Joshi is proposing, I believe is going to confuse my customers who are intended to go to the Old Fisherman's Grotto. So I do have a concern, and I would hope that some consideration would be given by the commission today and deny the request for him to paint his front of the building yellow and perhaps choose another color that is recommended in the master plan. There are some other nice colors that could be chosen, but I just feel like the yellow conflicts with my family's business. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Shake. There was one more public comment, and I can't see who else was
That was
on.
Mr. Rodney Riggs. Mr. Riggs, if you're still on the call, you can unmute yourself and speak now.
Mr. Riggs, are you there?
So there's something where if he's on the phone, he has to hit *6 or something like that. He may not be aware of.
Yes, and just a reminder for Mr. Riggs, if you do hit *6 on your phone, it should unmute you so you can speak and share your public comment. Yes. Let's see. And he doesn't appear to be on the call at this moment or on the Google Meets.
Yeah, I don't see him either. Okay, if he calls back in, we'll get his public comment. Is there anybody else on the line?
Let's see. Let me check the public comment line. It doesn't appear that we have anyone calling in for public comments. I'm not sure if we had anyone else on the Google Meet that would like to share a public comment.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So we'll close public comments for now, and if we get anyone else, we'll hear their public comments.
Yes, we will let you know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll open committee member comments. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Oh, go ahead. Linda,
you
no,
can-
absolutely, Linda, you go ahead.
Okay. This is a tough one because there's a couple other buildings that are yellow on the wharf, including Cafe Fina. I realize that's on the other side, but I also understand the intent of the wharf master plan to make things different colors, and to me that adds to the interest. I don't know if there was any intent or not to duplicate. I don't think that's up to us to decide. But I do personally, I think that another color could be selected and it would fit in better, or go back to the original color. So I think there's a lot of other options. If there's, again, the green or the blue and the city logo, there's a orange and red in the Krabby Shack sign, and there's also the green of the awning. So I think there's other options that we should consider.
That's it. For Patrick Tregenza. I went down to the wharf just to kind of reacquaint myself with the businesses, and I don't see anybody mistaking Krabby Jim's for Old Fisherman's Grotto, because I mean they don't look anything alike. The grotto has huge signage and it's 2 stories, and if you've ever been there before, you're not going to mistake Krabby Jim's for the grotto. So that argument doesn't really hold water for me. I personally don't like it's like a canary yellow. It's really bright. It kind of clashes with the green and white awning. I don't think it's the most tasteful choice. Whether it, grabs customers' attention as they're walking down the wharf, I'm sure it would, more than just beige. I think us as a committee, we have to go by, the kind of the bylaws and the city statutes and the wharf master plan, and it doesn't say anything about copying a competitor's color. It says diverse and primary colors. So I think for our sake as a committee, I mean, we we have to go with staff recommendations. I think toning it down with the white inset trim might help a little bit. But as far as like the subjectiveness of choosing a color, that's up to, every individual has a different idea of what looks good and what doesn't look good. So that's my stance on it.
And
I guess
also-
I would.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. I just did want to interject and announce we did have a public comment. Whenever you all are ready to hear that.
Yeah, we'll take the public comment.
Until the conference begins.
Oh, and actually, it looks like the person that called in did just hang up. So we'll keep our eyes on that public comment, and we will interject and let you know if we receive anything further. Sorry
Thank you.
about that.
Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks. So I guess thinking about what Patrick said, the way I've looked at diversity of the paint schemes on the wharf is also includes separation. And so I like that checker block pattern where you see all the different colors, whether it's coming around on the highway where you're seeing the backside, or when you're walking down on the wharf, having that diversity of color and having it interspersed in a way where it's spread out, so you get that visual impact of all the colors that are bright and varied, really brings, I think, a unique look to the wharf. And so from my perspective, since it wasn't approved in the official process, we didn't have a chance to comment on it and have this discussion. I think it makes sense to reevaluate the color. And, I think like we were talking about, there's lots of different colors, and I would recommend that the owner pick something different that stands out, that makes his location even more unique because it's next to a yellow building, and it will draw more attention and also fit the diversity of the color schemes.
I should say something to you, Bob. This is Patrick. There is a storefront business between the two businesses. They're right. They're not adjacent to each other.
Mm-hmm.
There is a, I think he said 21 feet or 36 feet or something like that, separating them. So, and they are not the same exact yellow. I think the Krabby Jim yellow is a little deeper and brighter. So there's that.
Yeah, it looked from the photographs in the staff report that it was capped by two similar colors on either end. One looked like a shack or access port, and then there was another larger building on the left-hand side. But yeah.
This is Justin. I guess I'll chime in here. I think it's a tough one because it's tough to say what really went down with the permitting of this. It does sound like the tenant tried to make an effort to do it correctly, but struggled a bit with it. It's also a very difficult time for restaurant owners, and he was obviously trying to come up with some way to draw attention to his structure. I guess that was my question, and I'm glad that it was just brought up by Patrick, I would have a problem with it, I think, if the buildings were directly adjacent to each other and painted the same color. But barring that, I think you do achieve the checkerboard appearance. And even in some of the images that Mr. Lombardo was showing, there are the same color buildings or the same color used in some of those buildings, but it just tends not to be directly adjacent to each other. And that's when you start to achieve this homogeneity. It is a duller yellow on the grotto compared to the brighter yellow on Krabby Jim's. I think the white trim will help. I don't see making him repaint the whole building right now, given that we don't really have anything to back that up, particularly with staff's recommendation to support the application.
This is Shannon. I'll chime in and agree that it's, I struggle with this one for similar reasons that have already been mentioned. You know, kind of the circumventing of the process, and then at the same time, there are other buildings in that yellow. Yellow does at this moment really sticks out in comparison to the other buildings around it, probably because it's fresh and new. And I suspect that over time it will dull or change. I do agree that the white I think helps significantly. And it's I also, similar to what Justin and Patrick said, I struggle with it requiring the change based on you know, the findings of staff. But I agree, kind of the fresh paint when I was by there earlier today, it does stick out, particularly against the beige on either side. I'm not sure that it's the you know, it's seamless in that regard. But I also, while there's been other suggestions of different colors, there's a lot of different colors on the wharf, and it does concern me that any, you know, if any other restaurant had an issue with the next color and the next color and the next color, you know, those options do start to get limited. So those are my thoughts at this point.
I do not support the staff recommendation, and I think that circumventing the process is a problem. I think that over time the yellow will fade, and they will be similar. So I'm clearly in the minority on this one, but I just have to say that I don't support the staff recommendation, and I think the two buildings are too close to each other, and they're going to be the same color in a matter of months. And it's going to be a lot of yellow and a lot of confusion for people who may not be familiar with the grotto and not know the difference between Krabby Jim's and the grotto and just walk down the wharf and look for a yellow building. So that's what I got. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll try. It probably won't be successful, but I'll try. Okay, so I recommend that we continue this for a redesign of a different color, or the applicant go back to the original tan color. But if he would like to change the color, that needs to be resubmitted to the Architectural Review Committee.
I'll second that one. Is there any more discussion?
Staff has a comment before additional discussion. If this motion goes forward, since this is a code compliance action, I would recommend a condition of approval about timing by when the new application needs to be submitted or the building repainted, because if your motion goes forward as stated, I don't want that to be an indefinite amount of time. And I think perhaps, 10 to 11 days is a reasonable amount to work through the appeal period. So maybe 10 days or something.
I'm sorry, Kim, can you explain a little bit of clarity? Do you want them to resubmit the application in 10 days or?
Yeah, I would think so, that they would,
Okay.
I mean, they would either need to repaint the building a different, back to the beige, or submit a new application within 10 days so we could bring it back to the Architecture Review Committee. And if they failed to do that, then we would be following up on, and appeals were not filed, they would need to repaint the building starting at about day 11.
Back to the eggshell?
Yes, if that's, I just don't want this to drag out indefinitely.
Got it. Thank you.
So I'll amend my recommendation to continue this for either redesign for new color within 10 days or paint it back to the original color within 10 days. Does that work, Kim?
I think it does. Thank you.
Okay, I'll second that one.
Roll call.
All right, let's go ahead and do the roll call vote on that, please. Chair Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bluth,
Aye.
Committee Member Connor,
Aye.
Committee Member Polly,
No.
Committee Member Rath,
Aye.
and Committee Member Tregenza.
No.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I think that passed. What was the final vote?
So we had 2 noes and let's see, 4 yeses.
So that motion
2
carries.
votes, yes, correct? Mhm.
Okay, so that can be appealed to the Planning Commission within 10 days.
Mhm.
And Mr. Joshi, are you still here? Okay, so either submit an application to change the color or go back to the original color within 10 days or submit an appeal within 10 days. Okay, thank you all for your time. Mr. Lombardo and Mr. Shake, thank you for being here.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we will open this to committee member comments. Does anybody have anything?
I'm curious, the Planning Commission heard an appeal of one of our second story additions. How did that go? I missed it.
I'm happy to report that for 415 Spencer, the appeal was denied and the ARC approval was upheld. That was last night.
Great. Anything else?
Just that at our next meeting, which is scheduled for August 5th, we are anticipating 3 projects currently. And one, we're not certain yet if it's moving forward, but most likely it will. And that's 484 Lane. We're also looking at 816 Lily and the Chomp parking lot.
Thank you, Andy. Anybody else? Thank you all. We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 5:04. Please stay healthy and safe.